Welcome to The Good Ride. I'm James Beastie, and I'm just being me in a world that isn't. Next to me is the Burton Hometown Hero, a board I've ridden a lot. They changed up the construction the last few years, so wanted to do an updated review. This is the 2024. The 2025 is very similar to this 2024. The rep handed this to me and said, just ride this, it's so close. It's good enough for doing an updated review. And I'd agree, with the exception of maybe one thing, the base, and we'll get into that in a little bit. I rode this with Union Atlas and ride Deadbolt boots. I got this in some pretty hard snow with a little dusting of snow on top. Then I got it in a little bit of powder, but enough to be able to ride off piste. I have tested this extensively in the past in the same shape and camber profile, just not construction and base. And I got that in everything from deep powder to hard to icy snow, everything in between. So I understand this board pretty well. I just wanted to see what the new construction is doing, and that's why I'm redoing this review. As far as sizing goes, this 56 feels right for me. The old 56 felt better in the older construction. The new 56 did not feel as comfortable for my weight as the old one, but I wouldn't want to go up to the 160. I've tried that before. It's just too much board for me. I like control and an easy turning experience. If you like speed and carving power, then maybe the 160 could work for you, especially if you're a good bit heavier than me. So let's talk snowboard dating apps, some things that'll make you want to swipe right. This has exceptional pop, decent setback directional float. It rides switch really well for being this tapered and directional. It has a very consistent feel in almost all conditions. Some things that might make you want to swipe left. This new construction is a little more chattery than the old. It has a somewhat hollow feel underfoot, and the edge hold isn't quite there compared to many of its peers. Now let's talk shape. This is tapered and directional. It has a decent amount of taper, but it has that balanced free ride geometry, so it feels much more centered on board. You don't really get that typical tapered feel that can sometimes be washy on the tail depending on how you weight your turns. And overall, it has this free ride personality with a good all-mountain aftertaste if you set it up on reference. In looking at the camber profile, even this, a used and abused demo, has lots of camber. Burton keeps its camber profile pretty well over time. It ends at the Burton Pacific Northwest and then transitions up before the nose. There's a touch of early rise before the tail, but not that much. Like all Burton directional boards, it's more on the technical side, more for advanced expert riders, a strong intermediate willing to take some lumps, maybe accumulate a few hospital bills. Maybe could go for this, but I like recommending advanced expert riders. It's just difficult to skid your turn when you get off your game. If you're coming from old school camber though, it's not that technical. But in comparison to most camber profiles out there these days, it is. When it comes to edge hold, I've just never felt like I got a lot of grip out of the Hometown Hero. I've tried many versions of this over the years, and this is no better with a relatively new construction over the last few years. If anything, the edge is a little more chattery, so it bucks out of the line a little faster. One thing I found is even if I tune up the edges, it just makes the board a little more catchy, gives it a little bit more grip, and that might help for some, but I didn't feel like the trade-off was appropriate. And if I did that with any other board with a factory tune, it would just get even better grip and be a little more catchy too. So there is no way around this edge hold really, unless you're willing to compromise in other areas. It doesn't grab in soft snow though, so if you see a lot of that, a lot of people who don't like disrupted side cuts will really appreciate this. Let's talk Hometown Hero Flex. This is a good bit used, but even still, it's a medium stiff flex. There's a nice dynamic energy to it and a lot of pop out of it. When you flex down at the tail, it's pretty stiff. Same with between the feet here. The nose is a little softer. I found the nose easier to butter than the tail, but I was surprised that I could tail butter okay. And this is just so easy to ollie. This newer construction felt a little easier for me to get this to pop than the old construction. When it comes to uneven terrain, I felt this was a step down in terms of uneven snow performance. It just bucked and bounced around a little more. It's not terrible, and it wasn't as ultralight and poppy as the old straight shooter that had a similar construction. This definitely felt more damp than that, but I did like the older construction better, and it felt a little more hollow over the inserts. Yes, there's a channel there, but with other Burton boards, I didn't feel the channel. With this, I felt the channel, especially on same day comparisons, like getting off the Deep Thinker and then getting on this. It's manageable, but for me, it's not my taste. In terms of speed, this board can straight line pretty well. I like the old Flight Attendant a little better for that, but this isn't terrible. It's got a stiff flex and it can point it. I like the older model of this better though. This new one can get a little more chattery, so if you're trying to point it in uneven conditions, it's not gonna abide the way the old one did. Now, this is one place where I think the 2024 and 2025 are gonna be different. I got on this, and then I got on the High Fidelity, which has a centered WFO base as well, and it's a somewhat similar ride. This is the High Fidelity with the 2025 centered WFO base, and I just didn't feel like it did as well as the 2024 centered WFO base. This was special. It was up there with the fastest of the fast. It just had such easy glide. I'm not sure the 2025 is going to be as good. It's not a bad base though, and Burton has had some problems with their bases over the last few years. All their bases this year seem to be a good bit better than the older bases. None of them had that chalky, weird feel. They're not as fast as some of their peers, but they're definitely improving again. And I applaud them for trying to make a more eco-friendly base. I'm just looking forward to the evolution. When it comes to turning, this initiates a turn pretty quick. Not as fast as you would think for a 56, but good enough. I would say medium fast, but closer to the medium side of medium fast. And when I got it on edge, there's a very fun turning experience. It's a pretty balanced turning radius. I think it leans maybe a touch on the across the groomer to circle carvy side, but it really won't fight you on the down the line turns either. I like the spring out of the turn. I like the older one a little better in terms of the way it's sprung out of a turn. This new lighter, poppier personality didn't flex into the turn the same way the old one did. I felt that would give you a little more bend and a little more spring. This has a little less bend, but about the same amount, if not more spring, but I liked flexing into it a little more and then getting that spring out. But what I love about this balanced free ride geometry is you can weight your turn any way you want on this. I could front foot, center weight, and back foot weight your turn. You did fine either way. When it comes to powder, I didn't get the new model in a lot of powder, but I got the same shape, camber profile, setback on board, etc., 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 just different construction. So the float's the same, and this has pretty good directional float, especially for a one board quiver. You can get 3.875 inches back from center of board if you set it all the way back at a 23-inch stance width. Most people aren't going to be riding a 23-inch stance width on a 156. Those who would fit it will probably want a narrower stance. But if you don't get Burton EST, you can slide it back a little bit more and maybe get a little more directional float. If you like getting big air and you need some landing gear, it's going to do fine there. But if you like that set back, surfy, directional float kind of feel, and you want it really set back, you can do a little better, but this isn't bad, and it's better than the Cartographer, the Deep Thinker, and the High Fidelity, but the High Fidelity feels like it sinks its tail a little better and rises its nose up a little better, so I would say that actually has a little better directional float. You can ride the Hometown Hero Switch really well. Again, that balanced free ride geometry comes into play and makes this board feel less directional, less tapered than it really is. and I have a good time when I'm set up on reference riding this switch. This is really good on a big kicker and a medium-sized kicker, and even small kicker, or even micro kicker like I do. Never really enjoyed this in pipe, but if you know how to really engage your edges well and you don't mind lesser edge hold in a hard, icy pipe wall, this could work maybe. Not for jibs. So overall, I like the old Hometown Hero better, but if you're a lighter rider than me and you like those ultralight, extra poppy boards, this might work for you. Other than its edge hold performance and harder snow, this is a very versatile one board quiver that has good directional float. It's fun to turn, it has great pop. You can do a little bit of everything with this directional daily driver, and I think it's a great free ride bordering on all mountain free ride kind of ride.